Get ready to profit in 3, 2, 1.
Hey squad, we're here today with Ray.
Hello.
And Blake.
Hey squad.
And this is Ben. And we're going to talk about how to market a local service business from scratch. We want to help you if you're just starting out. I feel like this is pretty common that, to get questions about this. Hey, I just need to get my marketing going, just launching a business, putting my plans together.
How do I get started, Ben?
Yeah, seriously. So opening question, what's the fastest way to get your first customer from online marketing? What would you guys say?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting question because
Say it, Blake.
Because it's not SEO. And you know me, I'm the SEO guy, always preaching SEO, but I think the fastest way is probably some form of ads, which pains me to say, truthfully.
It's like the money mailer, or what are we talking here?
Hey, that could work. I mean, that stuff does work. People find success with that. But no, I think personally, I would say, if you have the pocket change to do it, it's probably spending on search ads or local service ads potentially as well. Those are really, really valuable. I know, Ben, you have some other ideas though too.
Mm-hmm. But first I want to hear Ray's.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say SEO. No, I'm just kidding. But I would think that I would agree, like ads are probably the best way to go. The issue is if you don't have deep pockets, you're not going to be able to sustain it for very long. And early on,
unless it works.
Correct. But learning can be difficult if you don't know what you're doing. And if you're a brand new local service provider, it may be difficult. So, but if you're looking to get that very first customer and you're just trying to get the wheels going, it's going to depend on the type of business you are. Maybe it's going to be local service ads, maybe meta ads. It's going to depend on exactly who your target customer is, but ads for sure.
PMAX,
just send it, bro.
Would you?
No.
Why not?
If you're a lead generation, if you're e-commerce, maybe. But if you're lead generation,
why not?
You're going to get a bunch of junk. You're going to get some
know?
spam because you will. I just know it.
Too, we're kind of assuming, we're saying starting from scratch, but we're kind of assuming they have this person has a website.
Well, yeah, and we'll back into that. Like, what are the necessary ingredients for success?
Yeah.
I send people to my MySpace page.
Yeah, that can work. There's a few people hanging out there. I think it's probably adds to, well, and maybe we should go back and say, okay, if you're starting from scratch with $0, what would it be? But for me, I'd probably say it's a Facebook ad, or Ray, meta ad to be proper, whether it's on the gram or delivered on Facebook in some way. But yeah, probably a super, like a hyper targeted Facebook ad with an offer, and even just telling the story. Hey, we're just getting started, looking for our first 10 customers in fill in the blank city. Offering $99 special this weekend only. Need 6 people. Call this number. Boom. Easy. And I think too, if your imagery, it features you or your team or your equipment, whatever it is, it depends on this kind of business or your new storefront or whatever, now open in your town. I think it gets some good engagement. But how would the answer change, guys? If you flipped it, you said no ad dollars available. Like you're literally just super scrappy. Like every penny went into your lease and your banner and your product or whatever, or your equipment. How would that change your answer? What would be the fastest way to get your first customer? 0 ad dollars. Go.
Yeah, this is a little unorthodox, but things even just meta groups, going on Facebook or meta groups, whatever they're called, you can post on local communities because at the end of the day, it's you have a local business, so trying to saturate local as much as possible through meta groups or pages or what have you, and then setting up things like Google My Business, kind of doing all these things, or Google Business Places, whatever.
GBP, Great British Pounds.
Yeah, so I think it may not yield a customer right away, but there's probably an order of operations that you can do where it's this should be set up. You should have your GBP set up. You should have posting. You know what I mean? Like there's different.
Fastest way, Ray. There's one answer. Fastest way. Go.
Oh man, I don't know. What is the one answer, Blake? I'll hand it off to you.
Oh man, I don't really know the answer
Facebook
either.
group,
I mean,
right? Facebook group is yours, I guess.
Yeah, that's.
I was gonna say lean into your social media and try to lean into your like personal network, truthfully, and like getting friends and family to share, or maybe even leaning and saying, "Hey, do you need what I offer?" Like, I mean, that's probably where I would go, truthfully, in social media, because it's free to create an account and spin that up. Like, I think that'd probably be the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a newer book out here called $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozy. And in that book, he gives the playbook for this very topic. And the first thing he recommends, Blake, you hit it dead on, is warm outreach, right?
Yeah.
Friends and family, network, past customers, colleagues, whatever. Hey, do you know anyone that could benefit from this? He has a whole bunch of cool ways to, engage people and make that a net benefit all around. But that's what he says. So Facebook groups, warm outreach, love it. I think for me, yeah, probably a post on like either, a neighborhood Facebook page, in the groups, next door, depending on where you live. Sometimes those can be pretty popular, and you can sign up for a business profile and post for free on there.
Join your chamber, but I guess there's probably some fees with that as well.
Potentially, but maybe you could show up to an event, one event for it, or even like local events happening. Like, it's the farmer's market, or it's the, I don't know, you get scrappy, right? Whatever those local events are, show up and just start talking. Even if we're saying $0, you don't have a booth, you don't have signage, you don't have stuff, swag to hand out, but you can go there and talk to people and say, hey, do you know anyone that's having this problem? Oh, by the way, I'm Ben. I just started this cool company called Ben's Pressure Washing Pals. And,
nice.
Right. Yeah. And then you use AI to spin up your logo. Oh, that's going to be a different episode.
Yeah. AI part 4.
Right. All right. So we have some ideas. Those are some scrappy ways. But probably it's going to be either, in the physical realm, it's going to be the hand-to-hand combat, the person-to-person, do you know someone? Here's what I'm trying to do. Hey, can you help? Anyone you can refer me to that? Or the super targeted posts, again, like local, personal, like what's in it for me, always leading with that value component. Yeah, I think that could work, especially if you're competitively stacked. I can't tell you, actually, in my neighborhood, do you guys experience this in yours? The amount of service providers coming through, even like local, hey, we're doing window washing, we're doing spraying for pests, we're doing fertilizing, we're tree experts, whatever the case might be.
Yeah, I get a lot of door-to-door for like pest control and yard management, like
solar.
I don't get that. No, I'm
okay.
not. I'm
mosquito
off
guard. A lot of that.
Yeah. Mosquito guard and whatnot. Yeah.
Mosquito protection services. But yeah, I mean, it's also a thing. It's a different modality, but it's an option. All right. So maybe we're rewinding the tape a little bit. You're just starting out. You don't know much about digital marketing, but you're like, hey, I know I got to do something to market this business and get some more opportunities, some more, deals closed, more leads. So what are those necessary ingredients in order of operation for that new business? What do you need first?
Yeah, it's like highest impact, like biggest yield. Blake, I'll hand that off to you. This is all you.
Are we? We have to make this clear though. Are we assuming this person has this business? This new entrepreneur has a website?
No, I'm saying literally blank slate. They have nothing. They just know they need to figure out their marketing life.
Okay.
They started this thing up. Maybe they've got some connections or whatever, but.
Okay, well then I think the number one thing the number one thing is probably to spin up social media profiles first and foremost, because those are free and I think everyone is comfortable enough to do that and make that happen. And I would, be really consistent with sort of if you're really early on, you won't have like a true brand probably, unless you're savvy. You could try Canva or some other tools to just like make something up sort of. Try to be consistent with that and like, your obviously your brand name, your address, your phone number, and just be really super consistent. But then really kind of getting into like SEO, it's the Google business profile it's personally where I would start to be number one. And Google also offers a service where you can build a website through, it's like Google Pages or something. I
Right,
forget.
yeah.
I've actually never personally used
My
it.
parents have one of those. I don't know how it works,
Do they?
but they have one.
Yeah.
They just upgraded it too. It used to be through, I think, Google Sites, but now it's an
Yeah, I'm not
upgraded
sure.
experience.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it.
And I believe it's free, right?
I think so. I don't know in the new model if it is,
Sure.
or if you need workspace to unlock it. But either it was historically it was free.
Yeah, historically, yeah, it definitely was free, and that's where I would begin. So Google Business Profile is it's going to unlock basically the local map pack in Google searches, which we've all seen. It's when you Google a near me search, like pressure washer near me or plumbers near me, and you see in the search results, there's usually 3, occasionally 4 if you add the advertisement with a map, like a literal map, and that's the local map pack. So it can unlock that for you and fill that Google Business Profile out all the way. Like leave no box unchecked. Make sure you've got your primary category set, additional categories that are relevant, services, products, description, everything. You want to fill it out like from start to finish, completely,
as
honestly.
much as you can.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
data that you can give it. And then again, this is always key for SEO, but like make sure all the NAP is consistent. NAP is name, address, and phone. It should be every single listing, every profile, everywhere that your brand is. That should always be consistent. You want to make sure that's consistent to kind of verify to Google that this is truly who we are, and you don't want to have any discrepancies anywhere.
Right. Everywhere on the web that your business is visible, whether it's your Facebook page, Google Business Places, your webs, anywhere, same name, same address, same phone, same format.
Yeah.
We're not saying on Facebook you get the LLC at the end, and on Google Business it doesn't, and on your website you're called something else. That's a recipe for disaster. And right now, I'll just say this, like either Google, like literally go to google.com, type in Google Business Places, and you'll find it. Or I believe the URL right as of today is google.com/business.
Business.google.com. That's,
Yeah.
or I bet it redirects
It
to.
does redirect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But either one, right? So you do that and you can click sign up and it's free, right? So you do that. And again, we're in this like, what do you do? Free, no money. Like, all right. So if you're going free, yeah, I would set up Facebook page first personally, because when you then go to set up your GBP, you then point your website URL to your Facebook page. That is an option, right?
You could do that, yeah.
And now you can do all of that for $0 because you haven't even bought
Yeah.
a domain name yet or done hosting. And I'd feel like if it's true that you can still make a free website through GBP, that could be a cool next step.
Yep. Yeah, I think with GBP, it's probably the first step no matter like what vertical you're in. So like probably doing that right away is going to be extremely important. But I think like the one thing that I try to think about is like, how do you pick like one of these things to do like really well after you like set up like your GBP? Because if you're, depending on the vertical you're in, so if you're like a hairstylist, you probably don't want to go to like LinkedIn for like your first channel. You probably want to like stay to like social where like most of your target audience would be. If you're a consultant or something, you maybe want to like go to like LinkedIn. So I think it's really important to, because you're running a business, right? So like these business owners are focused on like running their business successfully, launching it well. And like they got to figure out how do they spend, at least in my opinion, the biggest impact, like how do we move those things forward? And in my opinion, it's pick one of these channels. And I agree, it's got to be social, but like if you're going to do meta, do it well, like be consistent. Obviously make sure like NAP is good, all your phone, your name, address, phone number is all up to date. But I think it's really important to just like not spread yourself too thin and be like, I got to be on Meta, Twitter, or X, or is Threads still a thing? Like going like everywhere, you know what I mean? So I think it's just really important to pick one channel, do it well, be consistent, and just like do that over time and then slowly add on more if you find something work well for you.
And I will add too, you're right though, Ben, like you could use your Facebook page as your website. I mean, it could really be that. And what I would say, if you do that, which I think is totally reasonable for a local service business to go that route, make sure that you're basically telling the user, if you're going that route, Facebook page is your website. It's like your front digital presence, that you're telling users what the action is that they should take. Like the CTA should be message me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
Always. Don't make it clear like, hey, find us on Facebook. Like, sure, that's the thing. But like, if you want to reach out and you want to go
really
the next
important.
step, like, be
Message
sure
us.
like this is how you contact us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or obviously
Or call.
Call. That's always an option too. But like some people, we know this too. A lot of times people aren't ready to get on the phone. They just want to send a message or fill out a form is usually what it is in these types of verticals. But that would be really, really key to make sure, like, you want to give it really, I think sticking to 1 to 2 CTAs, either call or message us on Facebook if you're going that route, or
Right.
LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this too from that owner's perspective. And like you said, Ray, like, don't get overwhelmed in the beginning. Like, I need to be on 8 platforms and a website and ads, and I don't even know. I'm just trying to run my business here.
Yep.
I feel like you could totally win and build a huge business, a huge local business on GBP and a Facebook page. I mean, I've seen it done.
Yep.
By consistency, and you can go deeper with, if you boost it, with ad dollars or whatever. But it's like, what would you do? So let's say you set it up, right? Consistent name, address, phone. You got your Google business profile. Everything's filled out humanly possible. Facebook page, same thing, dialed in. In V1, like, you're just using your cell phone number, and you throw that on both. Maybe later you get fancy, you can have tracking numbers or have a Google Voice number for $15 a month or what, I don't know what it costs, but so you do that. And if you do the messenger thing, you just like have your messenger up and you're DMing people that are inquiring and stuff. But what's like you get it set up. It's not like just, if you build it, they will come. This isn't the field of dreams. Like, what do you do next? What's the consistent daily action? Like, now you're in your business and like, okay, now what? How do I make Facebook work for me? How do I make Google Business Profile work for me?
Yeah, I think, once you start getting like a steady flow of like customers or referrals through like all the different actions that you're doing. So like assuming that like, if you built it, they will come. Not everybody's going to like go to that right away, but really trying to showcase what you're doing. So I'm going to like this like hair salon or hairstylist like example. If you're opening up like a hair salon and you do like an awesome like style or something, you take that picture, you put it on social, like ensuring that like the outcomes that you're doing for your business, you're like showcasing it in some way. And Blake, maybe this is where you jump in. You can probably take some of that as well, upload it to like your Google My Business or Google Business Places or whatever, like ensuring that the actions that you're doing, you're kind of like putting them out so people can like see them and engage with it.
Yeah, I would agree. That's honestly where my head was at too. So it'd be posting on, so you can also post on Google Business Profile as well.
Right.
And I would just, consistently post on both and being active everywhere. I think kind of going to what you were just talking about too, we just mentioned this, it's starting to get into like local events, being in the community. Because if you're sort of building a brand and you have places to send people and you can sort of like show this is the work we've done, maybe you have testimonials, you have reviews on Google Business Profile, you can kind of start to build that up a little bit and really start to kind of develop a reach and you can start to engage with the audience a little bit more. So I agree with you. I think that's where my head is at.
What if you're still pre-revenue? So, right, all right, so you set it up, right? It's day 0. You set it up. Go to bed. You're like, yeah, I set up my GBP, digital profits, hook me up. I set up my Facebook. It's all optimized. Awesome, right? Day 1, phone hasn't rung yet.
My grandma's commented
No
on every
DMs.
single one of my posts.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Thanks,
right?
Grandma.
No, like, what's your first post? And like you have 0 customers, right? You set it up, 0 customers. Next day, walk into the store or, throw the pressure washer in the back of the truck, right? And now what? No customers, nowhere to go. You got to post. You got to generate that demand. What are you doing? Is that where you start posting content? What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't really know if that's the situation you're in. I feel like you're not really trying to figure out like what's my next post. I don't think.
Why
but
not? You want your customer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking you probably are you're trying to make this, if you have no customers and you have nothing to really share of your work or whatever, like I think you turn this into a story a little bit and you kind of build a narrative like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm setting out on my own. And maybe it's like a day in the life of a young pressure washer entrepreneur or something.
Yes.
Like I think that's the way you could go. You keep talking about pressure washer on TikTok. There's this guy.
I know what you're talking about.
There's this guy who like does yard work and pressure washing for free. And that's like his whole brand, like
millions of views.
Millions
I've
of
heard
views.
of this actually.
Same thing. People do it for like mowing lawns.
Yeah.
Well. They'll do like landscaping and they'll just like find like a really like, house that's
It
like
hasn't been
overgrown.
upkept. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and now I feel like I'm telling young entrepreneurs that
Give away your services for free.
do free stuff, which is challenging. But
But it's day one.
Yeah,
Dude, you
like,
have no customers.
You just pressure
right?
wash your own driveway or something and just film that and just show like the process and say this is what we do and like before and afters. Like you could
Explainer video.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that you could do to try to establish sort of a foundation of content and build reach a little bit. There's definitely things out there. And there's the other thing too, short form video, and we've talked about it internally. I'm telling you, it's so valuable and there's so many opportunities, and we haven't even mentioned, I don't think, TikTok at all.
Right.
But
well, that's like day 9. We're on day 1 still.
We're on day 1.5, I think.
Yeah. Well, right. So you're almost like documentary style, right? You don't have a customer. You're like, all right, but I have some knowledge of cutting hair or plumbing or whatever, pressure washing, whatever the case might be, right? So yeah, either you're like, hey, I'm out here filming myself. Here's the truck. Here's the washer I got. Here's why I chose it. Here's how it works. Here's what we do, how I operate it. Yeah, I'm going to do this dirty patch of driveway. You do it. Oh, it's beautiful, right? And you knock on the neighbor's door. Hey, I noticed. Probably haven't washed your siding in a while. Can I do it really quick? Oh, if it looks great after, will you leave me a review on Google Business Profile? Oh, you will. Sweet. All right, let's do it. Boom. And, capturing that, snapping the photo, getting the testimonial language, and then you're starting to build some traction. But probably, dude, day 1 is doing some of this, like documenting, creating a ton of content. Like I would post multiple times because it's like I think in these ecosystems where it is a local business, local service business, or even a brick and mortar, the idea is like there's a finite number of people that are your potential customers within that world, in that ecosystem. It's like what you're trying to do is like, you're trying to reach those people, and that's where I think the depth strategy comes in. But ultimately, you want to do surround sound. You want to make it like if it's your right prospect, the lead that you want, you want them to get the sense that like, I keep seeing these guys everywhere. And so it's like you said earlier, Ray, like you're progressively adding, tactics and stuff. But I think first is like depth. It's like post 10 times in a day, share it on that local Facebook page, whatever, right? Cross post it on GBP. Yeah. What about reviews, Blake? I mean,
I feel like you just mentioned it. Once you start working with people, I think it's just like a verbal. It's like, hey, if you were satisfied, like leave a review. We'd love to work with you again. Love to see tell your friends.
Help your neighbors with more beautiful siding, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be great if you got to wake up and not only was your house shimmering and bright,
I'm picturing this right now,
but also your neighbors? Wasn't that overgrown bush over there? What if that was gone? What if we were able to do that together? Hey, you know how we're going to get that word out? You got to leave me a review. And then more people find it, we'll help them too.
I know where you live. I'm just kidding.
Probably
now your customers are doing door-to-door sales for you because they want your neighbors to have
there you go. Well,
trimmed bushes. And
day 14 is affiliate program, Blake.
Exactly.
But
Ben, early on you talked about offers, and I think like that's something that's really important too, because in a lot of these service businesses, you could do specific offers. You could do contests early on potentially too, where it's like the pressure washer example, Blake. You could be like, hey, I just did XYZ project. I'm doing one of these this month, for free or through XYZ. Like there could be ways to like generate some like hype around that from like that standpoint. So really honing in on like offers, at least to start to get new business in the door, could be helpful.
Right. That's what the door-to-door crews get like so many times. Like, hey, knock. Hey, do you know Billy down the street? Yeah, I do.
Love Billy.
Well, hey, you know what? We just signed up Billy and actually 5 other neighbors.
Yep.
We're coming back on Saturday, and if you're in on that group on Saturday, we can actually take $50 off the price. We're doing this. Here's how it works.
We're here anyways.
Da-da. Are you interested? Yeah, we're here anyways.
Yeah.
But
did you just get pitched yesterday? Because I've heard that exact pitch
months ago. But it's a playbook, right?
Yeah.
It's probably just best practice.
Right.
And these companies grow up so rapidly, and then I feel like they fizzle because the next season it's like the pest control people are back, but it's like the 6th brand of it that you're like, I never heard of that one, but it's probably like some offshoot from the mothership and whatever. It's all shots on goal and conversion rates probably at that point. But regardless, like that's an approach. Or like again, we're using that like service based thing a lot. But like, what if you have a brick and mortar? You are the salon, the float tank, the massage, the PT, the whatever it might be. same thing. I think offer could still apply, right? But maybe you're broadcasting it more like in that person to person, or on the social media, or even you can do offers on GBP, right, as a post type, like, so you promote that.
Yeah.
Or if you're kind of keeping track as you're posting, people are engaging. So hey, people react to it, then you DM them, or if, like, people message your page, and you reach back out to the 10 people now that have actually reached out to you, and you say, hey, listen, this weekend we've only got 10 spots. Truthfully, because I'm a one-person show and this is how it is. But if you're interested, for this weekend only, we're going to do $20 off, Mohawks. You interested, you in, oh, you are great, cool.
Yeah.
So there's ways to make it work for you. But all right, so now, you're doing the things, you're posting, if you start getting traction, customer engagement, trying to get those reviews, and actually talk about that. Like, Blake, do you want to distribute the reviews? Like, where, do you want them all on GBP? You want some on Facebook page, mix?
I would honestly say you'd probably want a good, like, mix of, specifically, like, your platform. If it is Facebook, then I would say, yeah, you're going to want reviews on Facebook. But really, I think the scalable way, I guess, sort of, is kind of Google Business Profile, because that is going to be a landing spot for as long as you're in business. The Google Business Profile will sort of have tons of eyes on it. Eventually, I'm sort of imagining like this business, this pressure washing business, sort of graduates from Facebook at some point. You're never going to graduate from your business profile, your Google Business Profile. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's always going to be there.
Because it is the way to get into Google Maps. That's the why behind that.
Yeah, and Google's not going away.
We think.
You're right. We do think that, but like, if you need help with something, you're not going to, generally, I suppose, you're not going to Facebook at the beginning of your search to find the service you need. You're going to Google, and your Google Business Profile is what's going to display if you are relevant and within proximity and whatnot. So like your Google Business Profile isn't going away. So I would sort of say maybe like it's like 80-20 kind of, to be honest, where you want 80% of your reviews going to the Google Business Profile and 20% of your reviews going to Facebook, or maybe it's even Yelp, or you know what I mean? Like I think it's probably 80% going to Google Business Profile though first.
So interesting. That for me sparked this idea of like how people are finding you and like the psychology, right? On search and with maps, it's like they're looking for you. Like you said it, right? They went to a search engine to search for someone that can clean their windows. And then they happen to find you because you had your GBP. It was optimized, posts, offers, ratings, reviews, whatever. But how often does it happen that they discover you? They're not searching for you. They're not like, hey, I need my windows washed. They don't even know that they know, and they're on Facebook. And then someone does
neighbor
the post.
gets their siding pressure washed or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then I just feel like so many times, it's not, like I'm just thinking about conversations with my wife and stuff, and it's like, it's not like we're sitting around like, oh, totally, we got to, in the next 30 days, we're going to wash our windows, right? We're going to get that done. But then like someone shows up at the front door, and then like Billy Bob and 8 other people are doing it, or in the Facebook neighborhood group, someone posted it. And then all of a sudden now we need to do it too. It's like, it wasn't like I was looking for it before. Like I wouldn't have been on Google.
Like, oh yeah, it's about time that's done.
It's a different mindset, right? It's just like in other businesses, in e-commerce or whatever, it's like you're searching for it versus you discovered it on social, on a news site, in a podcast or whatever. It's like a push and a pull kind of approach. But I almost wonder, Blake, in the beginning from like a cold state, you probably get more like pushing it and like getting the discovery aspect on social and the social proof and playing into those dynamics than you can expect to win on the search side. But now let's talk about ads a little bit. That could boost your potential on that search side, the pull side, right? Because and the reason I say that is like if you're starting out from scratch without ad dollars, even if you do all this optimization, if there are competitors in your area, they might have 5 years of service, 120 5-star reviews, and So it's going to be hard for you to kind of break through that barrier of entry organically, so to speak, in the map pack, right? Or whatever. But now, Ray, talk to us about ads, man. How can you use it to break through?
Yeah. I know we've kind of been talking like you don't have a website at this point, but I feel like for ads to work, like search ads, for them to work, we need a website. We technically, you can send some traffic to like a Facebook page if like you really want to, but
Don't be scared. You
Don't-
can do it.
I wouldn't.
I've done it.
You have?
Have
Yeah,
you?
Dang.
Oh yeah, site links and
Okay, site links, sure.
yeah. Or I mean, hey, if you don't have a site,
Yeah.
why not? I mean, you can't track it, and it's sad, right? But if the whole point, I mean, it is. I mean, it kind of goes against the ethos a little bit of what we do here. But right, I'm saying, dude, it's day 3 now, right? You got your first 2 customers. It's organic though, and it's quiet out there in Google. And you're like, hey, I should probably now. I got some money from my first 2. I want to reinvest that in the biz, and I want to. Anytime someone searches for pet grooming in my city, I want to be visible on Google for that.
I guess from like an order of operations standpoint though, like let's say my channel that I'm like dominating is like Meta. Like I'm seeing some growth. Like not only grandma's commenting now, like grandma's like friend is commenting on it now and her dog wants some like help. I would like rather like go to Meta and like do like a boosted post or like something along those lines first, because while like the search ad is like more demand driven and we can send people to a Facebook page, I'm trying to think from like a user experience standpoint. Like if I'm used to like going on Google, I click on an ad and all of a sudden I end up on Facebook, I might not even have a Facebook account. I'm like, why the heck am I even here? Like the like connection from like somebody clicking on a Google ad and ending up on Facebook could be confusing in like some extent. So from my standpoint, if the channel that you're on and you're seeing like some promise, and like you don't have to be dominating it by any means, but if you're seeing some like kind of like signs of like, oh, this is interesting. Like I'm noticing a trend of like people with like this type of dog or whatever are clicking on my ads and they want like pet grooming. Like you can tailor a post around that, boost it, and then try to get like more engagement. But to Blake's point earlier, make sure you have a really clear call to action on it, whether it's like call now or messenger, get directions, like whatever, like something like that. So it's really clear. So like I would really like, if you have ad dollars to work and it's day 3, I probably wouldn't do the search side of things, at least not right away. You probably want a website for that. I would put more money behind like boosting posts or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd probably do $5 a day on PMax and $5 a day on boosted posts or some kind of campaign of that effect on Meta. And mainly for me with PMax, it's more about boosting your GBP visibility.
That's fair.
So I don't know how much actual search traffic you get, and yeah, measurement's lost, but I think it's going to be a spaghetti of attribution anyway in the beginning, and especially with the word of mouth and referrals and all this kind of stuff. But I suppose you can maybe do some codes or unique things per channel to hey, it's the same offer, but you're like, on
mention code, blah, blah,
Meta,
blah.
yeah, mention code, puppy love or something, I don't know, and get, $20 off. Yeah, super interesting. Well, what else? How would you build upon this foundation, right? You're rocking and rolling, you're starting to do some Meta ads, you're getting some hits. What do you do from there?
Are we to the point where we would build a website?
Yes, my student, you are day 17, maybe.
I'm envisioning somebody just like writing down all the days that you're saying, Ben, and they're like, what is Ben talking about? Like day 14, we're doing this, and day 17.
Right. Day 30, you're a millionaire.
Yes.
Right. That's a trajectory we're on right now.
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
That's a different podcast.
Depends on the demand. And, right, day 30, you're hiring 10 pressure washers under you. And then you're, I don't know, upgrading your equipment and buying a fleet. I don't know.
What's like a reasonable budget for like a 1 to 3 page website, Blake? Like how can like a business owner just like jumpstart something and get the ball rolling?
Well, I mean, the Google, is it called Google Sites?
It was.
I'm
not sure if it's in the new iteration, if it's still being called that. It might be something different.
Truthfully, like full disclosure, I don't have a ton of experience with Google Sites because, I mean, most of our clients have a website. So if you have a website, you wouldn't even touch Google Sites because it would sort of be redundant. But Google Sites, from what I know in its previous iteration, is entirely free. And you can spin up a website with everything that you would really need for just, several hours of your time.
It has the AI tools built in to generate some of the assets needed. Right?
Yeah. If you were to go like the WordPress route, you could probably build something yourself for like $80. Like really cheap?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you go on like WordPress.com, sign up for a plan, that's going to get your hosting and like the whole, website system back end that you need, the infrastructure. And then,
maybe you buy
a
theme.
domain name, perhaps, right? A premium theme if you want to really customize that look and feel a little bit more. You could do that. You could, if you have more time than money, pay the $10 or whatever for a domain name for your business. And then you could try to find some cheap website hosting. I don't know, $20 a month or something like that. And then you could spin up WordPress from WordPress.org, like you set up the system and then build it yourself. And again, there's a free theme that comes with that. And there are a lot of AI tools now that are generating websites for people. So I feel like you could sign up for a free Canva account, spin up a logo, spin up some images, use the AI tools to spin up like stock-like images for different pages, or use from all this social content you've been generating, bring that photo and video on the site. But seriously, you could do a business card style site, a 1-pager or a 2-pager, pretty quick and cheap, I feel like. And that could be the next step.
Yeah, and depending on the services that you offer, I honestly, I wouldn't recommend a 1-page website. I would, because like now we're sort of we're graduating a little bit from like Facebook being kind of your online presence entirely. It still will be there, of course, but you want to start the ecosystem with a really good like structural foundation of content. I would have your homepage, of course. That would kind of be like an overview. It would be your brand, who we are, just kind of some general things. But then I really would have like a service page, like that details if you're pressure washing, if you're dog grooming, if you're selling flowers or haircuts, whatever it is. Like this is sort of what we do. This is what we offer. This is the price. Maybe you have some testimonials, etc. And then I would also have like, in addition to that, a contact page, just as like the basic, very, very basic starting point, just because I'm trying to think about this from like a scalable way. That's really the way to do it, is kind of build out that like a structure of content that's sort of linear in a way, but makes more sense at scale. This is kind of a really small operation, but again, I'm thinking ahead and saying, okay, set that standard now, early on.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this one is getting a little long in the tooth, guys. I feel like we've kind of hit on this, like what would be the first iteration of digital marketing for this local service business. Squad, if you're listening, if you like this episode, let us know, and we can do a part 2 that talks about the phase 2 of digital marketing.
Picking up at day 18.
Right, starting to accelerate different advertising strategies. Like Blake, what you're really starting to get into is like a long-term SEO approach.
Yeah.
How do you structure this site? How do you build upon that foundation? We can talk about more of the, local-based marketing, hand-to-hand combat that, could help take you to that next level. So let us know. Do reach out, and we'd be glad to elaborate and continue this thread of conversation. Thank you for listening.
See ya.